So, we run a venture fund and we invest in the ABCDs of the digital age.
Yep.
AI, blockchain, chips, and data.
Yep.
And so anything that touches those four pillars, so think of four Roman pillars holding up a temple, anything that touches those four pillars, we want to own. And miners, definitely. Exchanges, definitely. Software and tools, definitely. AI is really just a form of software. It's just a tool. Blockchain technology is a better form of storing value. Chips, right? We're going to have ASICs and AI-focused chips. Those are going to be great investments. And then data. Ultimately, it's all about data, right? The future of digital assets is about how we store and process data, how we protect privacy. You think about what we're talking about here is the internet basically revolutionized commerce and media, right? In the old days, media was controlled by governments, state-owned and state-controlled, and the internet busted that wide open. So anyone could be a journalist. If I want information, I don't have to wait for the New York Times. I can watch a TikTok or watch a Periscope on Twitter, find out what's going on in Argentina much faster. What blockchain does, it takes us away. Like, I'll give you a quick history lesson. I knew this, but I didn't know exactly until I just got back from this vacation. So I always said that the Medicis invented the modern banking system, fractional reserve banking. But they stole the idea from these monks. And I actually didn't know which monks until last week. I was in Portugal, and the guy explained to me that the Knights Templar, the Order of Christ, invented fractional reserve banking. The Medicis borrowed that idea and created the modern banking era that we have today. But it goes all the way back to these Portuguese monks. And what they found is they would hold gold for people. People would go off to war and never come back. I'm like, well, we got all this gold. We might as well lend it out and earn some interest on it. And it snowballed into, modern fractional reserve banking. Pretty amazing. Yeah. And so that was all based on ledgers. In the olden days, I lent you money, I wrote in my ledger, and you come back to pay me. I'm like, oh, Paul, you think you owe me 100. It says 200 right here because I'm an unscrupulous guy. I changed the ledger. So you're like, well, that sucks. So I'm going to keep a ledger, and you keep a ledger, and we'll ask the Medicis, the benevolent Medicis, to make sure the ledgers match. Now I'm an unscrupulous guy. I go to the Medicis. I say, hey, guys, I'm going to change my number to 200. Paul's going to say 100. I'll give you 50. They're like, done. Easy. So that you come back to pay, and mine says 200, and you're like, hey, Medicis, it should be 100. I'm sorry, Paul, you must have made a mistake. Well, now we have a third ledger. We don't need the Medicis. We don't need JP Morgan. We don't need the global banking system. We have a third ledger, immutable, permanent, and we're going to replace trust, which is what this 800-year system is built on, with truth. Blockchains give us truth. And that's why, one, I'm so excited about this. Two, it's why I'm going to spend the rest of my career focused on this. And it's three, why we're just at the beginning of this adoption and this disruption. And yes, the incumbents want to preserve what they have. $7 trillion. $7 trillion. This is a big number. $7 trillion every year leaks out of your account and my account and everyone else's account into the banks, brokerage, insurance companies, title, all the things that ensure trust. Tokenization of assets of value broadly. So stocks, bonds, currencies, commodities, real estate, private businesses, anything that can be owned, anything that can be titled. I actually believe, and there are people who will disagree with me, but I believe that anything that can be titled will eventually be an entry on a blockchain. Just an entry in this permanent, immutable ledger. And that's what a token is, right? A token is not a little piece of gold or a little, that's not what a token is, and the media makes it look like that. But a token is simply an entry on a ledger that gives you or I title to some property. And that property could be anything. Now, at this point, it's been things like Bitcoin or Ethereum or the token, the line items themselves. We own a piece of the computing network that is the Bitcoin blockchain, or the computing network that is the Ethereum blockchain. You know, what people don't realize, I always hear all the time, it's Bitcoin, not blockchain. Bitcoin is a blockchain.
Yeah.
And what you own is a piece of the most powerful computing network the world has ever seen. It's 1,500 times more powerful than the CERN supercomputer. And it is so powerful because of proof of work. And it's so immutable. And so, and I believe all high value assets will eventually list and find themselves on the Bitcoin blockchain. That's why ordinals are so important and a bunch of other things. But ultimately, Ethereum can have a role, Solana can have a role, other things can have a role too. What I don't know, Paul, and I've thought a lot about this, and I don't know that I have to know, is the internet's pretty simple. It didn't used to be. There used to be 80 different protocols, and it was very messy, and now we have 5, basically, right? We got internet protocol at the bottom, the base layer, then TCP/IP kind of controls all of that on how it exchanges. That's the base layer. Then we have Filecoin on top of that. FTP for files. Then we have HTTP for websites, SMTP for email, and then www. That kind of ties it all together. If I use that same framework, I can make a case that Bitcoin is like TCP/IP, it's the base layer. Filecoin is like FTP. Ethereum is like the www. And then we duke it out for the HTTP and the SMTP. Is that Polkadot or Cosmos or Solana or Avalanche? Don't really know. Somebody's like, no. It's one chain to rule all chains, Bitcoin. So it's Bitcoin, Lightning, L3, L4 that haven't even been invented yet. That's more like how money functions. So for money, I can see that, right? Gold is the base layer, then Fedwire, then ACH, then Visa, MasterCard, L0 to L3. Okay, I can see Bitcoin, Lightning, L3, L4, something replaces MasterCard and Visa for the money network. But for the total computing network, I don't know. I kind of like Bitcoin at the base, Ethereum as the www. And then some other